You just said it might be illegal.
You're listening to TKR. Want me to do the intro?
Oh, sure.
All right. All right.
Please let that be Please let that be the before.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to TKR. My name is Riley, and I'm here with my friend and co-host
TK.
TK. How you doing, TK?
I'm alive.
How's your week been?
It's been pretty weird. Work was kind of extreme, but other than that, it's been pretty good. How about yours?
I had such a weird work experience this week too. All right, I'll just tell the story.
Yes.
I work in a kitchen. Obviously, I'm a cook at a local diner. I made a burger this week that was so good that it compelled a grown man to come back into the kitchen and give me a hug. I wish I could make that up, but that's a totally true thing that happened, and it was so funny. So this guy came in, and he typically, when you ask for everything on a burger, it's like ketchup, mustard, onion, pickle, whatever else.
Right.
This guy said, "Charge me extra. I want everything. I want sauerkraut, black and green olives." He said, like, whatever you have back there, throw it on this burger.
What?
And so me and my coworker who were back there were like, all right, let's do this. So we just started throwing everything on this burger. And we even gave him like a little cup of chili on the side to throw on the burger. And he told the waitress, he's like, I don't care who's back there cooking. I'm going back there to give him a hug. And half hour later, he did come back there. It was so funny because he was like towering over me. Like this is not a man who gets turned to emotion very easily. He was like 6.5 feet tall. It was so funny. It was so funny, but it was awesome.
My mind, when you said throw everything on there, I'm thinking like, okay, we'll throw the grease, a spatula, another plate, another human.
A little bit of fryer oil.
Dale, I'm
Just
sorry,
soak
it's
it
your
in there.
turn. Get in the burger. Then this grown man, like I immediately thought of the police officer from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Like this man
to make a grown man cry.
But not this man. Get back in there too. That's such a good line. I love that.
Yeah. So that was my interesting work experience this week. I can confidently say that that's never happened to me before, and it probably never will happen again. But it was funny.
But everything in the kitchen sounds insane.
That's what I was like. There's no way this actually tastes good. I don't know, man. Not my preference. But if you're into that, then hey, good on you.
Come to find out, he was just trying to poison himself, and so you see him hug you, and then he walks the door, and you keel over immediately. It's like, you okay, sir? Worth it. While you are looking for your notes, I would like to give a wholehearted welcome to any new viewers that we have, and a wholehearted thank you to everyone that's been keeping up with us. Me and Riley were just talking about it just recently, that we saw that we had 630 suggestions on Spotify already.
Yeah, that's like people, our podcast showing up in people's search feeds.
Yeah.
The only problem is that they don't show us what people are searching to find the podcast. So
Yeah.
it's completely lost on me what people are actually searching. But yeah, it's up to 905.
I was looking at that too. Man.
That's crazy. And I would like to mention that there is a feature that we can implement where we can like take viewer submitted suggestions and stuff. Like if you have a suggestion for the podcast or something you want to hear us talk about or a question, if you scroll down below the episode, there'll be a little input bar where you can put something, and we'll see that and we can respond to it in the next episode. So that's an interesting feature that we could implement.
This is going to be so much fun.
Dude, I'm excited. I'm already like the recording this podcast is the highlight of my week, and we've only done 2 episodes.
The only bad thing is, like, on a normal, like, day-to-day basis, there are some things I think of, like, oh, Riley would like this, and I have to sit there and I'm like, I can't say anything until Sunday.
Yeah, wait till the podcast. I am totally, like, at the drop of a hat, I would switch to bi-weekly podcasts.
Yeah.
Bi-weekly, is that the right term, or is that once every 2 weeks?
Uh,
I would do 2 episodes a week just because I'm so, like, I love it.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. All right, so I want to talk about something perhaps controversial isn't the right term.
Is this
Illegal?
the Riley's hot take
Maybe the
in
right
7
term?
minutes?
Not yet. We're saving it. We're saving it for later. I want to talk about the wacky world of video game emulation. This is something I've been delving into the last couple of weeks, and it's interesting. So you obviously dabble in emulation because you stream Pokemon stuff. Let's preface this. This is totally legal. We're doing this totally legally.
You just said it might be illegal.
We definitely own every single one of these games that we're emulating. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. This is completely legal. That's our legally obliged preface to this. So you obviously emulate like Pokemon stuff for your streams.
Uh-huh.
I've just started recently getting into it because I've discovered that there's this whole realm of like emulation consoles.
Uh-huh.
Like obviously you see those cheap like 532 games in one, those little handheld things, but there are like high-end Switch-like devices that are built solely for the purpose of emulating video games.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew this was a thing until recently. I've started watching some YouTubers who do reviews and stuff for these devices. But it's crazy because I bought one. And it's like this handheld can play anything from, NES to arcade to PlayStation Portable.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy that stuff like this exists, I guess.
Weird thing to mention now, you just made me remember it. There was excuse me, an iPhone case that was made that was like a Game Boy Advanced that was playable.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I know. I thought about getting it, but I'm like, I already have so many emulation things that I've already used.
Right. Yeah. So you do you have like the handheld stuff?
Not necessarily, because I use an emulator on my phone as well. So
Gotcha.
I can get DS, Game Boy, stuff like that, all on my phone. Theoretically, in case it is illegal.
Well, and that's what's crazy too is I remember back in the day trying to emulate N64 on my old Samsung Galaxy Tab.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if they make those anymore. That was years ago. And it was such a hassle to try to find like where to safely download ROMs and what emulators are going to work well.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because now it's just such a streamlined process.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. And obviously, it's technically illegal if you don't own the games that you're emulating. But we own all the games that we're emulating.
I think
Like that's
really the only people that crack down on it is Nintendo.
right.
I don't know if you heard about I think his name was Bowser, the guy that went into like $4.2 million lawsuit with Nintendo for making I forget exactly what he did, but he did something. Let me see if I can find it. But he did like something with a Nintendo game, and they sued him for everything that he owned.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Nintendo, I hate it because I love Nintendo's games and I love what they do, but they're just not a good company. I mean, like they are one of the they're one of the manufacturers and producers that really just seems to hate their community. Like, have you heard all the stuff that they do with their competitions?
No.
Like, they basically cracked down on Mario Kart and Smash Bros. Tournaments and basically called them illegal. And they're like, you can't make money off of this. So the only way you can have, like, Smash Bros. Tournaments now is if it's officially endorsed by Nintendo. And the companies that Nintendo chooses to endorse are kind of shady and not good. There were some, I don't want to go into specifics, but there was some things in the last year or so that were just not good. I don't know. I feel like Nintendo just doesn't listen to their community.
Yeah. Oh, here, I found it. So, actually, his name is Gary Bowser. That's his legal name. He was just released April 18th of this year, and he still has to pay Nintendo $10 million because he was a part of a group that was making Switch hacks to basically get custom themes, export your games as ROMs, and added cheats to your Switch games.
Oh, I think I do remember hearing about this guy.
Yeah, the reason that it was illegal was because he was selling the product of, like, he was selling the product. Because if you do it to your own system, it's legal because it's your own property. But because he was selling the ability to someone else, that's what made it illegal.
Right. So that makes sense that, like, they would crack down on that.
Yeah, I thought it was something much weirder, but...
Like, might be extreme, but if you're taking something like that and trying to make money off of it, that's probably not a good thing.
It's even funnier because the article said that he's one of 3 people, so I guess he's the only one that really got caught. He's been in jail for 3 years and still now owes Nintendo $10 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild. So here at TKR, we do not endorse, this is not an endorsement of emulation. We do not suggest you do it unless you're doing it legally. Nintendo, if you're listening to this, and we know you are, we respect you completely.
You imagine they just have a team of people that every time the word Nintendo is said in any live stream or any recordings, they have to like send their guys like, go listen to every second of this right now.
Dude, that's a real thing. Is streamers like Small Ant, people who made like modded Mario Odyssey videos and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There was a few months ago, there was like a purge where Nintendo was just copyright striking everything that used like Mario Odyssey and other Nintendo games modded on YouTube videos. They were just like copyright striking and taking down those videos.
So, really off topic thing really quick. So I'm sitting on one of the websites I use for the weirdest laws, and there's a video ad playing, and all of a sudden one of the things come up, it says butt naked versus buck naked.
Lovely.
I have no idea what it is.
Well, now that's how they get you. Now you're intrigued.
It was
Now
like
you
2
wanna
minutes
know
into
more.
this 5-minute video. I'm like, it's been muted this entire time. But I'm like, what is the difference between buck naked and butt naked?
Yeah, see, now you want to click on it and find out more.
Targeted ads. Oh my god, targeted ads are so crazy.
Isn't it?
So one of the craziest instances I had of it was when I don't know if I had mentioned this before in the podcast, but Ryan and I did go to the same school at one point, but I left before our senior year started, so I wasn't with him. We didn't graduate from the same school.
Yeah.
The new school I moved to, we were in an anatomy class, and we were talking about the sickle cell disease, and I had the trait for it. And I had mentioned that to my teacher in class, and she was like explaining like the implications of it, stuff like that. The next day, I'm on Snapchat, and in between like stories, an ad comes up for sickle cell, and then it happened every single day.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's so weird.
Yeah. And that's what's so funny is people are so paranoid about it. Because it's true, it is a kind of creepy thing.
Mm-hmm.
And where it's like, you know, yeah, your devices are listening to you, collecting data on it. It's weird. But at the same time, most of the people complain about it. I'm like, you post your entire life story on Facebook anyways. Like, you're not giving them anything they don't already know.
Yeah.
But it is scary, though.
Have you seen the news crew that was doing interviews with people on the street about that?
No.
It was I don't know what channel it was. I just saw a video about talking about it, but it was this news crew going and stopping people in the streets. It was like, oh, nowadays it's so much easier to get passwords. And they asked this woman, was like, oh, what's the password that you have? She goes, oh, it's my dog's name, and then it's the year I graduated high school. She goes, oh, okay, what year did you graduate? And she told her year. I was like, what kind of dog do you have? And like, oh, it's this breed. He's like, what's his name? And then she said the name. Like, well, you just gave everyone that watches everything, your password to almost everything that you have. And we're like, it was like she did it with no hesitation as well. She's like, oh, like 20, it was like 1999, and then my dog's name is Ollie.
That's crazy.
Like, yeah,
because I hate people are just dumb. See, I have the problem where I make a unique password for every single website. Every single account that I have, completely different password. And so I just always forget what my passwords are. So I need to start. So I understand why people have the same password for everything, but it's just so risky.
So I have a funny story about that. So for the viewers at home, I have a mortgage on my home, and I pay it once a month like normal. But for my mortgage company, I do online payments. I never remember what my password was. So every month I'd have to reset the password to log in just for the next month to not remember what it was. So for an entire year, I just kept resetting my password to like, and I figured it out later eventually because I was like, man, I keep forgetting this password. I don't remember what it was. I was just switching the number up by 1. So like, let's say it was like the color blue. I would do blue 1, blue 2, blue 3, blue 4, and I would forget that I did it like the month before.
You would forget that you changed it.
I forgot I changed the number by 1, and so I would like redo the password. I'm like, oh crap, I just switched the number by 1. Like, oh, and I'm like, in my conscious brain, I'm like, I'll just put it up 1 number, so then it will make sense. And then I get back to it, I do the previous one, wouldn't work. I'm like, crap. Well, I guess I gotta put a new password in, and then I got the reset. I'm like, oh crap, I just gotta put it up by 1. And this for a year, an entire year.
There's nothing more defeating than when you go, like you put in your password and you can't get it, then you go to reset your password and it says, oh, this is your current password.
It's like,
sorry, you've already used this password. It's like, no. No, that's what I was typing in before.
Oh my god. One of my old keyboards was like that. So I was logging into something and my old keyboard would just tell me like everything that I was typing was wrong. I'm like, I don't get it. Like, I'm typing it perfectly. Come to find out, one of my keys was stuck down like enough that if I hit the key next to it, it would come down as well. So I was always hitting like L and K at the same time. And I'm like, really? How have I never noticed that? Come to find out, in every game I play, the key for K is not bound to anything. And the key for L is not bound to anything. So I'm just constantly pressing them whenever like I'm in game and it does nothing.
Right.
So I was like, this. It was so frustrating.
That's so funny. So I did something this week, Tristan.
Oh no.
I played a turn-based RPG.
Which one?
What's it called? One of the Paper Marios, the new Switch one. Paper Mario, the Origami King. Because I didn't want people to think that I was just blowing smoke and not knowing what I was talking about. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to commit to actually playing one.
Commit to the bit.
And so I can firmly say my stance has not changed.
That's a lie.
No. Okay, so here's the thing about this one in specific. Is it's got like the RPG elements and it's got fantastic like platforming and fun gameplay. But the turn-based stuff is just horrible. Like, it doesn't even do turn-based well. Because, like, I guess we'll go with Pokemon since that's the most well-known example. And that's the one that you know. Is it shows, like, your enemy's hit points and how much health they have left and how much damage your attack is going to do. This game doesn't have any of that. It's just like you have to line them. There's like puzzle mechanics where you have to line them up in a specific formation and you only have a certain amount of turns to do that. And then after that, you have to choose which weapon you want to attack with. And then it does its thing. But you don't know if your weapons are going to kill these guys because it doesn't show how much hit points they have. Only on the big boss battles does it have it. And the boss battles are a completely separate beast. The turn-based and the boss battles are at least a little more fun, but it's just so annoying because it does this thing. It's not like, I guess I don't know how the new Pokemon games work.
The same, pretty much.
But it's just totally, it ruins the immersion of the game where it's like you bump into a Goomba and then it's like, oh, it spawns you into this whole stadium where you have to fight this guy, and it's not just like fighting one enemy. It's like you bump into a Goomba and then you get teleported into the stadium and 8 of them are there. And you have to fight 8 of them. And so it's one of those things where I really enjoy the game. Like, the gameplay when you're not doing turn-based fighting is fun. The story's good, the art style is amazing, the platforming is fun, but the turn-based just totally takes you out of the game. Except for the boss fights, I should say.
Man, no one should tell you about Legend of Arceus. You would have a field day with this.
Yeah, so I kind of want to try, like, a Pokemon game and see how it fares. I was playing, speaking of emulation, I was playing one of the Pokemon Mystery Dungeons for the DS. I think it was like
those are so fun.
Blue Team Rescue or something. I played it for like 10 minutes because I didn't really know what I was doing. But like that was pretty fun because it does do like turn-based stuff, but it does it in a way where it's not like taking you out of the game. It's like you bump into an enemy and all of a sudden you're in combat. The screen doesn't change and it doesn't take you to a stadium and it doesn't take you out of it.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing where I'm like, yeah, I could probably get into something like that more because it's more of like a roguelite instead of a turn-based RPG. So I do want to play Mystery Dungeon a little more just to see, you know.
Yeah, honestly, for Pokemon games, you would 100% enjoy Pokemon Rangers.
Would I?
Yes, because Pokemon Rangers isn't turn-based, so you don't even have like necessarily Pokemon battles. How it works, you know what the Pokemon stylist does, right?
No.
So in the world of Pokemon, there are called Pokemon Rangers that have a stylus that they use to circle around Pokemon, and then the Pokemon basically just become like slightly obedient to whoever was the one that did it for a time being. So in the Pokemon Ranger, you have Pokemon that will attack you, and then your job is to just put circles around the Pokemon while it's gonna attack your stylus, and you just got to keep doing circles until you get to a friend level high enough to where the Pokemon just doesn't attack you anymore.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, so that's my biggest problem with Super Mario or Paper Mario, Origami King, whatever, is I enjoy the game, but the turn-based stuff is just so bad. Like, they don't even do it well. It'd be different if they did turn-based stuff well, but it's just not well done. And I have heard that...
hate it.
I have heard that the Paper Mario stuff, especially the newer stuff like that one, just isn't as good as the other ones. So that's and I haven't read into it much more because I don't care about the genre. But so that's probably one of the things, is it's just not done well. I adore the game. It's like the Toads are super witty and they always say stupid stuff and it's really funny. Totally like meta breaking things. Like there was one of them, one of the enemies right before he died, he was like, "You were better when you were side scroller." And I was like, that is so funny. Because like that's I guess probably a direct criticism that they receive from fans. And so to acknowledge that is like one of the enemies talking to Mario and he's like, "You were better when you were a side scroller." That's funny. That's genius writing, and I love that so much. But,
the Toad just breaks down the chandelier. I'm gonna swear! I love... But no, from your criticism, you would definitely hate... Have you heard about all the bad things of Legend of Arceus?
No, I knew it wasn't a favorite. I heard good things and bad things about it. I heard some people enjoyed it, but other people just hated it.
So I think... it's definitely something that they should keep pursuing because it was very good in on paper, but the problem they had with it was the turn-based aspect of it, because they had implemented a new thing called Strong Style and I forget what the other one was, Agile Style. So you could use your move either in Strong, Normal, or Agile. Strong basically means like it'll buff off the move a little bit, but then your opponent gets like 2 attacks on you, and then agile, it's a weaker move, but then you get another attack on your opponent.
Huh.
There one part of it was like it even had like a list on the side of like what Pokemon would attack when. Even it would update it before you used your moves, like, oh, if you use this attack, then you'll be able to go twice, but if you use this attack, your opponent will go twice, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't update it if your opponent chose like agile or strong. One battle in particular, there's a guy that uses 4 agile style moves in a row, so he attacks you 5 times before you can attack him once, and there's nothing you can do about it.
That's so dumb.
Yeah, and it's like that almost the entire game, where it's like, if you are trying to nuzlocke this game, it is almost impossible, because you have to not only predict what style your opponent's going to use, but then you also got to then calculate, okay, if I use this move, they won't die, they'll get either 1 or 2 attacks on me. I then have to figure out if I can. It was just such a bad aspect of it. But being a ninja, having to sneak up on things and catch them and research them was incredibly fun. The open world of it was amazing. Just the battle part was dog water. Like,
yeah.
Oh my.
I almost did pick that one up around the time that it launched because the open world aspect seemed really fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's my only problem with like open world RPGs specifically, is especially early on in the game, it's like a walking simulator.
Mm-hmm.
They don't give you any fast way to teleport around, or like you just have to walk everywhere.
Well, that's the cool thing about Legend Arceus is they give you like the ability to ride on a Pokemon called Weirdeer. It's the evolved form of Stantler. They give that to you on like the first, I guess, island or land based area. So it's like you go through maybe 30 minutes of just running around, and after that you get this thing that goes like the speed of light.
Yeah, see, that's cool.
Yeah.
I have a friend who's obsessed with Final Fantasy.
Name
Whatever
drop
the
them right
online
now.
Final Fantasy 14. Joseph, I'm talking to you. So there's, I don't remember, is it Final Fantasy 14, whatever the online one is? He tried to get me into it for a long time, and so eventually I downloaded it on Steam. I'm like, all right, I'll try it. Mm-hmm. And we got in, and that was the entire reason I wanted to do it, was because I heard that the fishing expeditions in that game are really fun. And so I spent, gosh, I don't even know, probably 4 hours grinding out this game just to get to a level where I could fish. And it's so horrible, because you go on a mission and it's like, all right, you need to take this to this place that's like far, far out. So it takes you like 25 minutes just to walk from mission to mission. And you have to do that for every mission, and they don't give you anything to like go faster. So it got to the point where like Joseph is maxed out level on everything, and he has like all the vehicles and the flying things that can get you back and forth. So I was like, just let me like just take me to this place so I can get this over with. Like games like that where it just makes you travel around like that. And it's different for games like, for instance, Spider-Man, where you do have to make long distance travels for missions, in between missions. Mm-hmm. But you're web swinging and you can do like a bunch of different stuff. It's fun. But when you're just walking and there's nothing to do but fight the occasional enemy, it's like no part of that is fun. That's boring. And so that's my biggest gripe with open world stuff, is if it's not done well, it's just boring.
You were saying all this, and now I'm scared because I realized you haven't gotten to your hot take yet.
Yeah, I have a hot take prepared. I just don't know how we're going to segue into it, so...
Well,
maybe
let's
we
hear
won't
it.
get a hot take today. You want me to go right into it?
Let's hear it.
I don't know if this hot take is going to affect you as much, because I don't know if you care about these films as much as I do. But any Batman fans out there, they're probably going to hate me.
If you're a Batman fan, skip ahead by 5 minutes.
Yeah, just skip ahead. I guess I don't even know. So, The Dark Knight. Have you seen The Dark Knight?
I believe so.
It's the Christian Bale one with Heath Ledger's Joker.
Oh, yes.
Fantastic movie.
Uh-huh.
And this is one movie that's like reviewed in every film class you will take in college.
Uh-huh.
Being praised for its takes on like just
Where are you going with this?
I'm going to preface this. I love the movie. It's a great movie.
That's never a good
Fantastic.
sign.
It's well done.
Stuff like this.
I'm going to say The Dark Knight Rises. I'm sorry, just The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is nowhere near as enjoyable as Matt Reeves' The Batman, the 2022 or whatever. That's a take that's going to piss off every Batman fan, and I don't care. The Batman was so much more enjoyable than The Dark Knight will ever be. And I don't care who knows it. Have you seen both of these movies?
I have not seen the 2021. That's why I'm laughing.
No! It's so good. And that was one of those movies where there was no in between. It was like you either love it or you hate it. And I know plenty of people who hated it. And I don't understand why. It was so good. Like, that was one of my favorite movies of last year. Mm-hmm. Was it last year? I don't even know if it was last year. But, like, I think I enjoyed that more than No Way Home.
Really?
Which is probably a second hot take for the day. You get
we got two?
Riley's horrendous hot take, strike two.
Sorry to cut in really quick. I just want to point out that it was exactly 5 minutes, and then you had your second hot take was something's better than No Way Home.
Yeah. Just everything about it, like the story and the casting of the characters were portrayed really well. And that was everybody's problem is they were like, oh, it's Robert Pattinson. You know, he acts like an edgy teenage version of Bruce Wayne. But I'm like, that's how it's like he's 2 years into being Batman. Mm-hmm. That's his point. It's like that's part of the movie. They're like, oh, he was just in Twilight. He's not a good Batman. That's the point. That's the character. That's how the character's written. Like, everything about that movie is just so well done. Man, now I'm gonna go watch it after the podcast, I think. I love it. So, when I come down to
the place where you live.
Cut that out. Editor's note, cut that out. I don't want to dox his location.
No, here, I'll give you a clean cut. The place where you live.
I'm just gonna splice that in. Yeah. When I come down to hang out with you for that 1 week, we're gonna watch the Batman because it's so good, and it's like it's dark and it's gritty and it's like
the gritty.
He hit the gritty. It's so well done, and I'm so excited for when the sequel comes out, if it ever does come out. It's supposed to. I think it's already written. But I guess we'll see how the strikes progress. Mm-hmm. The strikes right now are crazy. That's not me saying I disagree. I fully respect the actors and writers who are on strike, and I support their cause. But it's just going to be an insane year next year because there's not going to be anything coming out. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out because so far, like, I don't think there's been any progress on studios, like, agreeing to respect the rights of their employees. Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting. You know what I'm shocked about, though, is I can't believe that, like, everybody else is on strike, but the animators and stuff are still working.
Maybe they just can't afford to go on strike.
Well, but that's the thing, is because animators are so horribly overworked and underpaid. Like,
yeah.
on the new, what is it? Across the Spider-Verse, Sony had over 100 animators quit in that movie.
What?
During the production of that movie, because the workload was so intensive and they were working so much overtime and not getting paid for it. I mean, not getting paid enough, I should say. They lost hundreds of animators.
Oh, wow.
Over that movie. And so that's what I can't believe that everybody else is on strike, but the animators haven't gone on strike yet, because they're really the ones that are getting underpaid, and it's awful. So I'm curious to see how the strike when it will end, because right now there's no end in sight.
This is how my brain works. You said strike, and I immediately thought of SpongeBob. We're going on strike. We're going on strike.
Dude, I know you don't play TF2, but there's an item in TF2 called the Conscientious Objector that's like a picket sign.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's like a workaround where you can do a specific thing in the game's code to put your own custom item, like your own picture on that sign.
Ooh.
And so that's what mine is I have the Krusty Krab Fun Fair sign. And I have that plastered in game, so anybody I can play with can see me walking around with this sign that says Krusty Krab Fun Fair.
Krusty Krab. I miss old TV shows and how they used to be.
Right? It's not the same anymore.
It really isn't.
I went over to a friend's house the other day, and they had never seen the SpongeBob movie.
What?
So I brought the SpongeBob movie over, and we all watched it, and it was so good. I miss when TV shows, especially cartoons, were like that. Because it was like, they weren't, I don't want to say they were adult, like they weren't like fine for kids.
Yeah.
But they weren't made for kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was totally okay for kids to watch them, but they were still at a level where you could be watching it as an adult and still find it so funny.
Yeah.
Like, all of them, like Ed, Edd and Eddy, Ren and Stimpy. It's just so good. I wish we could return to a place when cartoons were like that.
Me and my roommate Jose were just looking at that too, because we can't. I forget what his name is, but that I don't think he's part of the Tom and Jerry crew. But you know that one dog that like always looks really sad and talks like with a accent.
Yeah. Oh, what's his name?
I can't think of his name.
Droopy.
I think it's Groupie.
Something.
But it was like one of those skits where I guess these people were trying to steal from the safe, and the owner was asleep, and that was like the only guard. And so whenever they like got hurt or needed to scream, they would literally run from the house completely out of town to the mountains, scream, and then run back within seconds. And
I was watching that clip the other day.
I was just enjoying
It's just so funny.
It was so
yeah,
good.
no, that's Hanna-Barbera, so that's like Yogi Bear, the Flintstones.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff. But I mean, I miss slapstick comedy, I guess is the big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that like, because even in like SpongeBob and Courage the Cowardly Dog, like all those older cartoons, is they still had that slapstick comedy where it's just like a lot of how would I say it, I guess? More visual gags.
Yeah.
Like, the comedy doesn't come from somebody saying a funny line of dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
The comedy comes from the action of the characters and how they react with the world around them.
Yeah.
Just like that bare bones visual comedy, there's just something so funny about that stuff. And that's something that you just don't see a whole lot these days.
And then as another thing for that, I guess kind of the opposite of that, I miss that like a lot of the shows that we had as kids had such good dialogue that it made it like very interesting to watch. Like the original Teen Titans was incredible in every aspect. It had its moments that were kind of bad. It had all of its gags, but I've never met a single person that's watched it that didn't enjoy at least some of it.
Yeah.
And now we're stuck with Teen Titans Go, which makes me so incredibly upset. I will not lie, they do have some fire-ass tracks. Like, whoever's writing the music is incredible. But the jokes...
The Night Begins to Shine.
I was...
Fire.
And I will admit, too, they have some funny jokes. Like, Robin spicing up his life with food with baked potatoes with salt. The one
salt,
flake of salt.
1 grain of salt.
But I don't think it could ever compete with just the Teen Titans.
Well, because it's a different... That's one thing, is I wish they would have, like rebranded it, in a sense.
Yeah.
I mean, they did, but the way they acted, it was kind of supposed to be kind of like a reboot, not a completely different series. It was like the same exact characters, same exact voice actors and everything. It was just like, we're just changing everything about it.
Yeah, now Beast Boy can talk while he's in animal forms. He makes a poppy noise whenever he does it as well. Instead of I actually preferred him to be like the off-screen transform. It's like we never knew how exactly he transformed. Like, of course, we saw him like switch from one animal to another. But when they did like the cut from him being off-screen for a second to then being whatever beast he wanted, I thought that was kind of cool because then it gave like the mystery aspect of, oh, we don't know if his anatomy like dissolves or if he just can grow or shrink.
Yeah.
Also, now that I think about it, what are his clothes made out of? Because they're just there.
Superhero physics have different physics. We don't know how they work, but they just do. And we respect it.
Yeah.
We don't question it, we respect it. Yeah, no, I'd never really watched the original Teen Titans at all. I've seen some of it now that I'm older, but I never watched it back in the day.
Oh my
so
god.
Teen Titans Go was like my first exposure to it. I know. Oh. We watched Young Justice last time I was.
I was gonna mention Young Justice is the last hope I have for TV show because it's still, even in 2023, it is still so dark for a kid show that I love it. It's
the new stuff is good.
Yeah, so I believe I don't know if they finished it or not, but last I remember they had season 4 that they released in like the 2020s, and
okay,
it was so what we watched. I think we were in like season 2 or 3, which by me and my roommate Jose, we just rewatch old stuff all the time just because we enjoy it. But when Riley came down, we were watching it already. Like, oh, you want to watch it with us? And he said, sure. I believe we're on season 2, and you can see for how like kind of had a dark aspect to it, or at least it had like the it's made for an upper level of kids aspect to it.
Yeah.
Within the new season that happened, I think it was season 4, it came to the point of child abductions almost all the time. It was,
oh my gosh,
because it was for people that had superpowers, and this company was abducting them to either extract their powers from them or learn to mind control them into being like a part of their group. So it was literally, I think they called them the metagene. It was literally metagene trafficking, and
yikes.
It's incredibly scary, but I enjoy like the fact that they kept it in a dark place, because I think, sure, I mean, it's obviously terrible that it's in a place like this and it's not made for every group, but for it to like not change after having years of hiatus makes me like so happy.
Yeah, because
that they're not going to conform to like this new society of everything needs to be PG or else it won't fly.
Yeah, and that's something you just don't get a lot these days. It's interesting. I'm a firm believer in the fact that like I don't think everything needs to go over the top with the gore and the darkness and the grittiness.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something so visceral and so emotional about those darker moments.
Yeah.
Like all of the Netflix Marvel shows, like The Punisher, especially The Punisher, is like when you see that gore and you see that graphic and you see like Punisher getting bullets and bleeding out, it's like you need that to show the depth of like the, I guess, like the emotional depth and the like. If hold on, sorry, I'm trying to formulate what I'm trying to say. In like the newer Marvel stuff that they're doing, when you don't see that, when you just see like somebody hurt, but you don't see any of like how they're injured or whatever, it just takes away from that like depth of like that severity.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Oh,
so I think that darker stuff is just necessary if you're telling that kind of story.
I think another great example of that, I'm pretty sure you watched it as well, Adventure Time.
No, I never watched Adventure Time.
Really?
No, I've seen some of it. Adventure Time and regular show, I just never really watched.
Yeah. Well, I just found out, off topic really quick, that the voice actor from Mordecai is the creator of regular show.
Yeah, J.G. Quintel.
I did not realize that.
Yeah,
he's so awesome. Cool. But back to so Adventure Time, It was very interesting because, just for spoilers for anyone that is planning on watching it, because I know that they just came out with Fiona and Cake, and that like has a thing with Adventure Time. So if you don't want spoilers for Fiona and Cake, skip ahead by like 3 minutes. But Adventure Time had Finn always like in dark places, like constantly getting rejected by people that he loves, or not understanding why his father didn't want him, or like his father betrayed him, all that stuff. It like showed all of his emotions going through everything, like especially for a kid of his age. It perfectly portrayed like someone going through the ups and downs of depression, but at the same time it then showed him braving through it and still saving the people he loved. But it's just so nice to like see that aspect of a show, rather than a character that's always jolly, always like, even like when they're in life-threatening situations, they're just the same. They don't have any emotions other than the one that they're portrayed to have the entire show.
Right. Yeah, no, that's really cool. Because, I mean, in order to... I guess I'm kind of just repeating stuff here, but like in order to get, like, you need to have that stuff to feel the emotional impact of these events.
Yeah.
So many shows and movies suffer from just not having that emotional depth, and then you just can't relate to the characters, and it's just... I have a lot of respect for shows like Adventure Time that can do that.
Yeah.
And still go over the top with the comedy.
Oh my, they go, it's so funny. I think, who was it? There was a character that got teabagged by a walking barn. It was so funny. It's such a good show. I'm planning on rewatching it because now that Fiona Cake is out, I plan on rewatching it from like one part of it and just continuing on. But even like with lore for Adventure Time, they have so much. Like, I don't know if you know Gunther the Penguin.
Uh-huh.
Apparently that's like a deity from another world that was, as soon as they got into Earth's atmosphere, they transformed into a penguin. Because even like the king of the vampires was like, you are the darkest thing I've ever encountered. Please, like, follow under me. And Gunther refused. And he goes, oh, well, you're going to be like the biggest problem I've ever faced in my life.
Huh.
Like, from the moment that he met Gunther, it's like, yeah, no, you're the scariest thing on planet Earth right now.
That's awesome.
Even knowing that the Lich exists, even knowing that Billy the Hero exists, he was like, yeah, no.
This penguin. Ancient
this penguin.
deity.
Like, oh.
That's funny. All right. We're approaching on the 50-minute mark. I haven't told TK this, but I'm hijacking trivia for the day.
What?
I'm hijacking this episode. We are finishing off the episode with video game trivia.
Oh, no. Oh, no. I wasn't prepared for this.
I know you weren't. Which is why I kind of catered it to stuff that you might know. I'll go easy on you for some of them. I will do multiple choice.
Okay.
I don't have a whole ton of them. We got like 5 of them here, so we'll see how long we can stretch this out for.
How long is Batman's boot in the Batman first game? Is it 5 inches, 6 inches, 7 inches, or 5 feet?
Well, what's your answer? No.
None of the above.
Correct. All right, here's what we're starting with. Which first-party Nintendo character was originally named Tinkle Popo? Was it Birdo? Was it Kirby? Was it Princess Zelda? Or was it King Dedede?
If they named King Dedede, that'd be so funny.
Tinkle Popo.
Okay, so I know it's not Kirby, because Kirby is the vacuum company, and that's why they named it that. It can't be King Dedede, because I think he had a different name that had something to do with another I think it was like they originally wanted him to be the competitor for Kirby Vacuum Company, and that's why they did that. But okay. I don't think it's King Dedede. Zelda does not make sense. So I'm going to go with Birdo.
Birdo? Final answer?
Yeah. Final answer is Birdo. What?
It was Kirby.
What?
So I think Tinkle Popo was going to be the name of the franchise, and Kirby was going to be called Popopo.
Popopo and DDD?
Yeah. It would have been so good. It works so perfectly. Popopo and DDD. But no, yeah. So from what I heard, I didn't hear the vacuum story. I heard that Kirby was the name of a lawyer that won Nintendo a giant lawsuit against Warner Bros. Because they were going after Nintendo for having Donkey Kong being too close to King Kong. And so they were suing him. And so the lawyer, I don't know his first name, but his last name was Kirby, and he won them the lawsuit. And so in his honor, they renamed the character Kirby.
Huh.
That's what I heard, but the vacuum story also makes sense.
Yeah. But, I mean, yeah. Wow.
Fun fact, they also gave that lawyer the exclusive rights to name his boat Donkey Kong. He owns the exclusive legal rights to name his boat Donkey Kong, and they also gifted him a boat for winning that lawsuit. So yeah, if you're thinking about naming your boat Donkey Kong, don't. You're legally not allowed to, according to Nintendo. So
I like the implications, like battling, like Donkey Kong versus King Kong. It's like, Your Honor, Donkey Kong obviously has a tie with his name on it, so
yeah,
case closed.
That'd be a fun jury to be in on. But yeah, but now
they
that I think
argue
about
that?
it, I didn't even think about Popopo and DDD until you said that. That would have been kind of awesome.
It's even funnier when you think about, we have Popopo, we have DDD, then we have Meta Knight.
Yeah.
Wait a second, Popopo, DDD, and then what was it? What's the orange Kirby with the pole?
Waddle Dee?
Yeah, Waddle Dee, Popopo, DDD.
It would have fit so well. Ugh. All right, we're moving on to the next one.
All right,
this one should be very easy for you to get.
Don't say that.
Which Borderlands character
Okay.
was quoted saying, "I wish I had a belly button"? Was it A, Torg? Was it B, Claptrap? Was it C, a Psycho? Or was it D, Flak?
You say this is easy. It has to be Claptrap, but any one of these characters would say it.
I know.
It's Claptrap, but
Yeah,
any one of these characters would say this. Torg would literally just be like, I wish I had a belly button. And someone else like, you do, Torg.
I have one question for you. Explosions? Yeah, no, it's why I specifically chose those characters, because I felt like either of them could be responsible for saying it. But you got
Psycho.
it. Ding, ding, ding.
The Psycho, I have an Audi.
I love those compilations of just Psycho quotes. They're so good.
So good.
All right, next question. Which Pokemon game was never released in the US? Was it A, Pokemon Trading Card Game 2 for the Game Boy? Was it Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of the Sky for the Nintendo DS? Was it Pokemon Stadium 2 for the N64? Or was it Pokemon Sleep, which is the smartphone app?
Okay. Oh my god.
And there are a few that weren't released in the US, but one of these specifically was not.
Okay, Mystery Dungeon, I think it was released because I know Mystery Dungeon's fine. I think it's between Sleep and then Stadium.
Okay.
In my mind, because I think Stadium was a very dark turn on normal Pokemon, and then for the app stores that have Sleep, seems like it'd be in conflict with the government.
Huh. All right. No, I respect that logic.
I'm gonna go with Stadium.
Gonna go with Stadium 2 for the N64.
Yes.
Wrong. It is Pokemon Trading Card Game 2 for the Game Boy.
Really?
Yep. Pokemon Trading Card Game 1 made it to the US from the Game Boy, but Pokemon Trading Card Game 2 was only released in Japan. Which I've heard that was... I don't know, because that's what I heard, was the first one sold really well. But for some reason, they just never released the second one in the US. I have heard it's a great game, though. I mean, as great as a Game Boy version of the physical card game can be.
As good as the Japanese version of this game could be.
Yeah, no, I have heard it's a great game, but they just never brought it to the US for some reason. You can obviously, back on the topic of emulation. There are fan-made translations of it that you can play, which I do want to try at some point.
The title of this episode is Emulation.
So Pokemon Stadium 2 was released in the US. It was rebranded, though, because in Japan it released as Pokemon Stadium Gold and Silver, I think, or whatever.
That's what messed me up then.
Yeah,
okay.
And it released in the US as Pokemon Stadium 2.
I think I mixed it up with Coliseum as well, because I know like some of them they had like shadow Pokemon that made it like very dark stories to them. Yeah. So,
yeah.
Man, I'm not doing well at this trivia.
And Pokemon Sleep, I had never heard about this until I was looking up Pokemon stuff for this. It's like Pokemon Go, but you have it running while you're sleeping, and it tracks your sleep activity, and you get like rewards based on how well you sleep.
Can you imagine an app saying you slept like trash last night? You get nothing.
You get nothing. You get a berry, whatever they're called. I don't remember.
You slept for only 7 hours and 59 minutes? Trash can. Garbage.
If 7 hours and 59 minutes of sleep is bad, then I'm really... Oof.
Running on 2 hours.
Yup. All right, final question for the day.
All right.
The original Donkey... And I wrote these myself, so they might be worded a little weirdly. The original Donkey Kong arcade game stars Jumpman, who was later renamed Mario, and Donkey Kong as the main characters. The only reason Nintendo made these characters was because they couldn't obtain the rights to a certain IP. What IP was the game supposed to be based on? So that's basically saying there was characters from a certain copyrighted entity that they were trying to use in their game, but they couldn't get the rights, so they made their own characters instead. So was it supposed to be based on Mickey Mouse? Was it supposed to be based on Looney Tunes? Was it Popeye the Sailor, or was it Tom and Jerry?
Okay. Popeye does not make sense to me, so I'm eliminating that.
Okay.
But now I'm scared.
I mean, you've played the original Donkey Kong arcade game, right?
At least once, yeah.
Yeah, so you know the premise of, like, Donkey Kong's at the top and Mario has to get his way up to save the princess. Yeah.
Yeah. Tom and Jerry, it makes sense that they couldn't get the right, but it doesn't make sense for Jerry climbing for anything other than cheese.
Yeah, and Tom's at the top just bullying him, throwing barrels at him.
But I think in that case, they would have done it in more of a comedical way. Like with Tom, you can hit Tom back, if I had to guess. Mickey Mouse, who would he fight if this... Pete. I don't think he'd be Mickey. So I'm going to go with the last option that I haven't said, which was... What was it again?
Looney Tunes?
I'm going to say Looney Tunes.
Okay.
Was it Tom and Jerry?
It was Popeye. Popeye
what?
the Sailor. Okay, you know what the funny thing is about this? Every question you've gotten wrong, which is 3 out of the 4, the right answer was the first one you eliminated.
I eliminated.
You were like, no, it's definitely not Kirby. You were like, it's not Pokemon Trading Card Game 2. It's not Popeye. No,
Popeye
so yeah.
made the least amount of sense to me.
No, but it makes sense in context because Popeye was supposed to replace Mario, and Bluto was supposed to replace Donkey Kong, and he was supposed to be holding Olive Oil captive at the top.
You know what's really funny? I forgot that Bluto was a character, so I was thinking that it was... I thought it was going to be some rando at the top.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Right.
Oh, man.
It was a valiant effort, though. I applaud you. I threw in the Borderlands one to give you a lifeline because I kind of realized later that these were a little hard. So I was like, I'll give a Borderlands quote.
This was fun, though.
Yeah. Not as funny as the goofy laws, but a little fun thing for the viewers at home to play along with. Yeah, no, in my mind, like Tom and Jerry, I totally just made that up, but that made total sense to me.
Yeah, like...
So I was like Jerry at the top, or Tom throwing stuff down from the top, and Jerry having to dodge everything and climb up. Like, now I want to see a Tom and Jerry mod of the original Donkey Kong arcade game. Because that just makes sense to me.
Yeah, the only thing, like, I would say, if we could have more comedical aspect to it, like, Tom every so often would just be hit by one of the barrels that he throws or something, just because of how unlucky he is. So that's why I didn't think it was him.
Yeah.
Which was kind of a stupid thing to say, because they could easily had modded it to be comedical, and they just didn't do it because they didn't have the rights to do it.
Right.
But, man! We're gonna have to try. I'll just try again. I'll get 100% next time.
Oh, you will.
I won't, but...
But you'll try. And I also kind of sprung this on you, so hey. Good effort for not knowing that this was coming.
Yeah, good. That was... You really surprised me. Good job.
I saw the 50-minute mark, and I'm like, this is my chance. Steal it from him.
Pulls off glasses.
Taking his bit.
Okay, I'm going to read one of them off to you. Okay. Of the laws, because that was really funny. About this. Alabama, no stink bombs for confetti.
Oh, man.
If you're a school principal from a 1980s film considering moving to Mobile, Alabama, stink bombs, funk bombs, and any object that the purpose of which is to create disagreeable odors are strictly illegal there. Also illegal spraying strain confetti and bathing in public fountains. Think you're innocent. You're probably breaking one of these real marriage laws right now. I don't know where the bathing in fountains came from. No stink bombs or confetti, but
yeah, interesting. That's funny. All right, we're gonna wrap up this episode here. Thank you all for listening. We appreciate the constant support.
We're having a lot of fun doing it already.
Oh my gosh, so much fun. And it's only going to get better from here because we're going to be prepared. And we're going to have content prepared ahead of time, and we're going to get stuff.
It's really funny if you do cut that out and they just don't understand what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, there was like a 2-minute pause where we had to stop because we didn't think we were going to. Anyways, look forward to Facecam stuff in the future. We're working on getting that all set up for YouTube. I don't know if we can do that on Spotify. I think Spotify only accepts videos from certain partnered podcasts.
Yes.
But definitely on YouTube. Yeah, I think that about does it. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you.
We'll catch you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.